Okay, so I've let the bees fly around for about 45 minutes or so. You can see there's some good activity there. They're just coming out of the boxes and starting to check out their surroundings. They're kind of doing circling flights overhead and then taking off and foraging, right? And I'm going to try and do a couple of new things this year. One is that I don't even know if you can see me right now, or if this camera's working for that matter, because the screen broke a couple days ago. So I don't know if it's filming or not. Hopefully I've got a replacement camera coming around Father's Day, not too sure. But last year I wanted to do this anyway. I wanted to add a, oops, don't mess up that lens. I wanted to add a beekeeper's point of view with the GoPro. Hoping that, I mean, the GoPro has its advantages and has its disadvantages, but it does give really nice, high quality, clean images at a certain distance. And I'm hoping that that will be able to help us focus in on the queen, especially now, because I definitely want to find the queen when I put the nuke boxes in their hives. So stay with me and let's see how she goes. So you can see at the bottom of the hive there, I had to actually do a repair on the bottom board. And I couldn't figure out why. When I was coming to check out these hives after they had been destroyed by the bear, every time I showed up, the bottom board had slid out to the left. And I thought maybe the mice were getting in there. Then I saw a hole in the bottom of the bottom board in the mesh. I've covered it up now, but I'll have to replace it or fix it. And then through my use of night cams and stealth cams, I was able to find out who the culprit was. So I'll play that for you at the end of the video, okay? Okay, so for those of you who are new to the channel here, if you like what you see, like and subscribe, because I'm going to do a lot of these videos this year. And basically, this is my 5th year of beekeeping. So I got a little bit of experience, but not a whole heck of a lot. You'll see that I'm going to start off the year not wearing gloves. If you're a rookie beekeeper just starting out, I recommend you wear gloves to start. And the reason why I recommend you wear gloves is just so that it gives you a confidence, right? If you're constantly worried about being stung, and you're going to be stung, there's just no doubt about it. But if you're constantly worried about it, you become a bad beekeeper. Gloves will give you that sense of security at the beginning, but then you'll notice as you move along in the art, you'll become a much better beekeeper when you lose the gloves. You'll find that in the early days, and if you look at some of my early videos, I feel like I'm a bear pawing at the bees and at the hives with my gloves on. When you don't have your gloves on, you're much more careful, and generally you treat the bees a lot better. So let's get at it and see what we got here. Now, when I lifted the nuke boxes to their position, they felt nice and heavy, which is good. Heavy because it means there's a lot of bees, but probably more importantly right now, it means there's a decent amount of resources in there. Bees really need to have pollen to feed the young, honey to prepare to feed the young, and they need to be in good shape to be able to expand the hive. Okay, so I'm just going to look on the lid for the queen here. She really could be anywhere, and I'm not great at spotting the queen. So I really got to take my time with this. Either way, I'm going to set down the lid and the box right in front of the hive, so all these bees will make their way into the hive anyway, but it'd be really good to spot the queen today. Wow, look at that. They are just boiling over. That's a lot of bees, and that's fantastic. Now, I haven't lit my smoker, and as I'm looking at these bees, I'm thinking I probably should. So I'm going to take a pause for a second and light my smoker, because there's a lot of bees here, and I just want to control what they're doing. They seem very calm. There's nothing bad happening right now, but that can change, right? So it's time to just get the smoker going just in case. So I'm not going to smoke them yet, but I might just leave the smoker out in their vicinity so the smoke drifts across them. Let's see what we got now. Wow, you can really hear interesting sounds when it's only 4 frames like this. You can almost hear piping, like if it's the queen. You can hear kind of crunching as they're probably trying to make their way out of the cardboard. But here's a beautiful brood frame. Look at this. Try and get you so that the sun is at your back here. So there's some really nice brood. There's some drones there. You can see a drone on the left side. Looking for the queen on this one. I do not see her. Let's get onto the other side here. Oh, beautiful brood. Look at that. So a frame like this that has already got the brood and laid and the eggs laid and the brood, you know, being sealed up, it's not overly likely that the queen would be here. The queen would be likely on a frame where she can lay, but you know what? She really can be anywhere. So let's get that first frame in. We'll get to the next one. Seem to be really nice, calm bees. Now, as far as what kind they are, these are mostly carniolas, but there is some mixing. And that's the one thing that Brian told me there at Innisfil Creek Honey, is he likes to mix what ends up being local breeds, because the local bees, obviously, you know, they can survive. Okay, so there's a supersedure cell right there, which probably came from before they did this this nuke. So I'm just going to monitor it now because it's not quite capped yet. It will be capped soon. And if it is, then that means that they could be planning to make a new queen, and I don't want that at this point. So you can see, even with your bare fingers, you can see the bees crawling on my fingers. You start to get used to that, and unless you really squish one, they generally leave you alone, just like you leave them alone, sort of. There's another gorgeous frame. Just looking for the queen here. Good drones on here, which is a good sign. Gonna look at this one a little more intensely to see if I can find the queen. Now what I did, I think, in my second and third years when I started, the first couple of days of beekeeping, I wore gloves. Even though I ended off the first year not wearing gloves, I started off the next year wearing gloves just so that I could have a good amount of confidence going in. I mean, there's nothing worse than having a bee that's fairly harmless land on your hand and you freaking out and dropping a bunch of frames. That happens to me. It's still going to happen to me. That probably happens to most beekeepers. And you're not even getting stung. It's just a reaction of nerves, I guess. Okay, let's see this one. I see some more supersedure cells. Wow, beautiful brood frame here. There's the queen. There's the queen right there in the lower right of the frame. Going to the, oh shoot, she just flew away. Shoot, she just went on the ground. Hang on, shoot. Okay, let's get this box. Where is she? Is that the queen? Queen, where are you going? Where is she? Is that the queen? Well, that is a first. That queen dropped right off the bottom of the cell. She landed right around here. She flew up to around here, and now she's flying. So that is troublesome. What that means is that she'll most likely fly her way back into the hive, right? But I will now not wreck those supersedure cells just in case. So let's get this other one in, and that's a first. So there you go, 5 years into beekeeping, and that is an absolute first. I have trouble spotting the queen. I spotted the queen, all happy about it, and then she jumped. She jumped for it. She ran to the bottom of the hive, the bottom of that frame, and jumped for her life. Here's a nice empty frame, but there's a lot of pollen in it. And this is probably a good frame for eggs, so we'll get that going back in. It's very heavy. So yeah, some good pollen, some good brood starting, and eggs here. So, oh boy, that's exciting and scary at the same time. So what I'm going to do is put this hive back together as soon as possible. Put these bees in this box here, right at the front of the hive, so they'll work their way in, and hopefully, that queen will find her way back in. I'm sure she will. I'm going to set up some honey frames on the outside, a couple more brood frames on the inside, so that they have a lot of resources, and then close it up. We'll put 2 frames of honey, and then 1 frame that will be a good brood frame. So this queen will have a lot of room to lay, and a lot of room to grow, and hopefully she'll find her way back into that hive. And if not, they have eggs, and they already have a couple supersedure cells going, so they'll make another queen. I mean, it's less than ideal. It's never happened before, but hopefully I caught some of that on film. Maybe you saw the queen drop. That'll be exciting and terrifying. Okay, so this hive is just about ready to go. Put 1 more brood frame in there, and then I will put the entrance reducer on, just so that this hive has a good chance of defending itself if need be. Now, I think this is going to be a strong hive. There's a lot of bees in here, and they're doing well as far as their brood and hatching goes, so that's a really good sign. Okay, so here comes the hive reducer now. You can see what it is. It's pretty plain and simple. You get a few different options as to what you want to allow. Here's the hive reducer, just in case the other camera didn't pick it up. We'll set this down here and let these bees defend themselves. Now, I won't leave that on more than a few days, and then we'll come back and take it off. That should take care of the robbing. Alright, so hive number 1 is done. Not without its excitement. Boy, oh boy.